is broken. Let's go, everybody. Woo! Hang on, we're getting this situated. It's not the block sauce unless I break something. Here we go, I think. Maybe. There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 and gaming culture. I'm your host and re-NFT ambassador, Jin Kieran, and today we have somebody new on the panel. Well, kind of. You've seen him once before. So stick around, and let's get this show on the road. What is up, sauce enthusiasts? We got our panel back with us. As you can see, there's a new face whose name is apparently Sinjin today. I guess I screwed up all the names. So give me 1 second. I'll get you guys situated.
No, you can be Sinjin today, Matt.
Yes, I'm Sinjin.
So Matt gets to be Sinjin, and Sinjin is Dub today. So enjoy.
I'm Dub. Cool.
You're Dub.
Radical.
Oh, man.
Far out.
You should do. What's your best Dub impression?
I'm trying to do it right now. Hi, I'm Dub.
Soul tokens are gonna go to the moon. And I'm gonna tell you about it right now.
Boom.
And you're all a bunch of sissies, you know?
Okay, now we're
There
good.
you go. All right. I'm no longer Dub.
Oh, man. No, you're Sinjin again. Sorry.
Okay.
Who am I now?
You're Matt.
Okay, I'm Matt.
I always like being
Matt
Fresco,
Defies,
though.
or is it Matt Defies, or is it Matt Defa Gaming? What is it? The gaming? Is that the one that we want to put you?
It's Matt Defies, but like I walked myself into it, you know.
Okay.
Most people think it's Defies, but I can see why. Yeah.
I read it as the Defies.
Yeah.
Well, we have some saucy topics today. As you guys are probably well aware, Cointelegraph put out an article earlier this week saying that the ETF was approved and it caused a whole bunch of mayhem, and they kind of walked back and blamed us for not verifying their research. I don't know how I feel about this.
This is why we don't need regulation. Why do we want regulation in this? No, regulation? No way. That makes no sense. Why would we want regulation?
I'm bullshit Cointelegraph. They actually have like readers then, you know?
That is surprising. But yeah. I don't know. To me, it's like, where do you guys go for your research?
I don't know, but I want to be added into the alpha group for Cointelegraph.
Yeah.
So everybody's out there in the alpha group in Cointelegraph, please add me on Telegram. It's the gaming strategist. Appreciate you in the full.
Oh, man.
Did they front run? Did some people front run?
Oh yeah, there's like there's already like how many guys have made millions of dollars off of it, and I'm just like, this is wild. I mean, but this is our space. And like, you know, we complain about this space all the time, but these are the reasons why we need regulation. You think if we had regulation, something like that would happen? Hell no. That fucking company would probably be shut down. You know what I mean?
So we got a comment from the viewers, and the nature of media today is report first, verify later. I kind of have to agree with that statement because everybody's hunting for the clicks and they want to be first.
In Web3 more, yes. I will say that.
Even in Web2 we see it though.
Not as the way it is in Web3, right? In Web3, it goes like wildfire. People don't verify, right? Especially in Web3, like it's like if like somebody puts out, you know, tweet right now, Bitcoin 35K, Senator Warren has approved the fucking thing. It's probably gonna go wildfire, right? Whereas I think in the Web2 space, there's more verification. There is. I know there is.
No. Okay, I'm not gonna get political. I'm using this as an example.
Now, hold on. Are you talking about the financial markets media though, or are we? Or that's.
Oh, I was talking about media as a whole.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Financial market media. Because Cointelegraph is financial market media, right?
Yeah. True. And there are repercussions in Web 2, right?
Oh, okay. They would have been shut down. They would have been facing so much millions of dollars right now, that they probably wouldn't been able to get out. Their lawyer would have quit once they saw that tweet.
Where's the SEC now?
Yeah, right.
Again, the one time we need them. No, I took a journalism class, right? I did 6 months or whatever, and verifying was one of the big things. You do not put something out until you have what you know to be true available and like from the source, right? This article clearly didn't do any of that. So from my perspective, again, I'm not a journalist. I've just taken a journalism class, so don't consider me a professional by any means. I think this was a big screw up. Somebody's probably getting fired, if not already fired. My big issue with it, though, was when they were having the meeting with Mario Narawful, or however you pronounce his name. I wasn't saying that to be facetious. I literally have no idea how to say his name.
It's Mario Awful.
That's basically what I said. But so try not to drag people here too hard. But in his case, we can make an exception. I'm still going. God, somebody stop me. Anyway, they said that it was the reader's fault for not verifying. I don't know where you guys get your information to verify, but it's usually sources like Cointelegraph. Like I'm usually going to news sites because they typically have boots on the ground information that I don't, right? Who else am I supposed to trust? Google? Am I supposed to like...
I mean, that's like, you know, like that's the complete idiotic or complete like statement that like shoots yourself in the foot. Like,
it's
why
literally,
would you even say that?
Literally one of the only reasons someone would follow their accounts, right? Just
I get mistakes happen, and I'm willing to be lenient when mistakes happen. Like when the article first blew up and everybody started tearing it apart and it found out it was fake, I was like, okay, shit happens, right? But then she went on the show and said that, and I was like, don't double down. Admit you screwed up. Don't try to blame the readers when it was your guys' fault. You're supposed to be our source of research. Well, one of them, anyway.
Again, this is the part of regulation, right? Like where there's no accountability. So like these people could run around right now and just say whatever the fuck they want to say because they want to say it and they feel empowered because of how big they are. And like a media giant like that, they're just like, we don't care. We're not going to lose anybody. If anything, we might gain more from this publicity stunt. And it is true. In Web3, you do gain a lot of you gain a lot of followers like with publicity stunts like this.
Starting to look a little bit like Fox News of Web3.
Yeah, but their track record hasn't been like this blatantly bad, has it?
Not to my knowledge. No. That's why I don't think it was intentional. I think it was an accident.
Yeah, actually, and you know, it's hard to say like, you know, what their track record is because if you look at like the stuff they've published in the past, a lot of the stuff is paid, like in anything, right? Like we know some of the stuff's paid. And like sometimes these like scam accounts or like fake like bullshit like projects do get published, but that's because the money's there, right? Like the money is behind some of these projects. So there have been like in the past where like there's some questionable projects that get published, but again,
the fact that someone from Cointelegraph would say, hey, you know, you guys still need to, you know, do your own research, right? They're basically positioning themselves as a tabloid rag, actually, by them saying that from their own management, right? Mm-hmm. I guess that's one major implication, like that maybe like they may see themselves as a news aggregator or not serious journalism by saying something like that. I guess the other point is that in our space as well, not so much that there's no regulation at all, right? But like, because also the markets are international and, you know, so on and so forth, right? Bitcoin price go up, you know, who's ultimately like, as an investor, you know, group, right? Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, collectively, who is that group of people who are going to go and say to Cointelegraph, hey, you guys fucked up, right? Now we're going to report you to whichever body, right? And, you know, there are the people who basically front ran this, maybe like because they saw the news first or they were aware of it in some alpha group, maliciously or unmaliciously. And then there's a lot of guys who were like, you know, shorting Bitcoin at the time, right? And they just got wrecked by it. You know, but that's life in crypto too, right? Like these things happen and then they're not really in a position to say, hey, well, you know, we got wrecked because of whatever. And there's no kind of recourse for them either. So it's still the wild, wild west led by a tabloid.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, the representative told, they were saying that they felt a lot of pressure to break the news, like to be the first, because that's the only thing that gets rewarded. And I just don't think that's a good enough excuse, right? Because if we're all playing that game, then we're just gonna keep making,
Well, that's why there's a lot of fun in this space,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's exactly it, right? Like we try to be first when we should probably be more of accurate instead of first, right? Like
Exactly.
let's put out accurate news rather than some crazy.
Here's the thing. Like whenever I do research on a topic, Web 2, Web 3 doesn't matter. I never use one source. It does not matter if you're first. It matters if you're accurate, because I'm going to fact check whatever you put out across other sources anyway. So these other sources being accurate and having a reputation for being accurate tends to lend me to go to their site more frequently. Cointelegraph screwing up and then blaming readers, all that does is encourage me to ignore Cointelegraph moving forward and check my other sources and rely on them more, right? So I'm kind of leaning with Sinjin, like this is going to hurt their reputation, and it's not even the article itself that's doing the damage, it's the PR damage control they're attempting to do and making things worse. They're pouring gasoline on the fire already, basically.
But I want to make a point here. I'm not sure, like, I'm just kind of like pointing out that maybe they're kind of admitting to be somewhat of a tabloid, but I don't know if it necessarily hurts them, because there's two aspects to it, right? Like, forget about talking about like as a Web3 gaming builder or whatever like that, right? Crypto is with the meme coins or mem coins. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, I'm old. How do you say it's meme coin or mem coin?
Meme, I think. That's how I call it, meme.
Okay, sorry. Okay, meme coin.
If you want to say it in Spanish, we say meme.
Okay, a meme coin and what do you call it? All the shit coins, altcoins, whatever you want to talk about, right? New coin launch, whatever, so on and so forth. It's all about like liquidity, and the way to get liquidity very quickly and to get something started in our industry is speculative attention, right? So in some ways, almost all these alpha groups and the news that they receive is all about speculative attention and news, which is, whatever, 50-50, 80-20 of what, like, hit and misses, right? So that crowd of people in crypto, they're fine with this type of like news, right? As long as they act on it first and other people are going to act on it, who cares about the reality? And then there's the rest of the people, which may compose maybe like 10% or whatever, or like idiots like me who are like, hey, like I actually want to see this industry progress and not like the SEC come down on some promising projects or so on and so forth. And nobody really gives a shit about it, because there's a reason why it's called crypto Twitter, right? Or for us, where things happen that quickly, right? And even on crypto Twitter, you're getting it one step removed from these alpha groups, right, on Telegram. So,
excuse me, sir. I need you to reel in your boomer a little bit. It's called Crypto X now.
I don't think anyone actually says Crypto X too. Like, that's just really cringe too. Right? Sorry, I'm a boomer, but I'm still cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
Well, in other news, Immutable has been they joined into Amazon's what's it called? Independent
AWS.
Software Vendor Accelerate program. Well, I know it's AWS, but the actual program that they joined is called Amazon's Independent Software Vendor Accelerate program. What a name. Couldn't have thought of something a little shorter, maybe. They announced that this is going to allow Immutable to gain access to expert resources from AWS to help secure prospective customers and ultimately close deals with major game studios from around the world. So it sounds like Immutable is doing this because they want to be able to provide AWS servers for games coming up. So it sounds like they're kind of doubling. Well, at this point, I'd say probably tripling or quadrupling down on gaming. I think that's good.
I don't even know what to take of this news, right? Because I think this is all back end stuff. It's still, the issue is going to be the front end stuff. Can we go from chain to chain and play games without having to do the whole fucking MetaMask or Phantom or whatever you have to do that? I don't care.
The 20 different wallets.
Yeah, I don't care if you're on AWS, if you're do whatever you need to do, but fix the front end. Let's fix people want to get into this Ferrari, but they're like, hey, go get the key, and it's the key's inside the vault, and you have to put the secret code in, then you have to sign for it, and maybe you might put in the wrong code and you might drain your account. Come on, we can't be it's 2023. These great games are coming out. There's a lot of great games coming out, And yes, that I do believe that gamers will find their way into Web3 and like do whatever they need to do to like play a game, because at the end of the day, gamers want to play a game. But not all the gamers, right? Like, and that's the biggest thing. Like, how do we bring on more people? So I think like it's great that these back end things are being developed, but we have to see something on the front end. I get Immutable Passport is great, and I'm a very big fan. Congratulations on everything you're doing. But we still haven't seen the almighty platform or the almighty passport between everybody. So like I like using the word passport again, like I want to travel to China. I want to travel to UK with my passport and get into that country. It should be that same kind of concept in gaming. I want to travel with this passport and get into like Scale. I want to get into Sol, Ethereum, whatever it is.
Well, to be fair on that point, Phantom does have support. You can actually pull your MetaMask wallets over to Phantom. So is it going to work everywhere still? No, but it's a step in the right direction.
Right. The idea of a wallet and the aspects of the wallet are still an issue for Web2 gamers, right? It screams scam. It screams Web3. It screams everything that this space is built on, right? In the sense that like all the language we use, until we change a lot of the language or the UI for some of this stuff, it's going to be pretty hard, you know?
Yeah, we need like a suitcase, not a wallet anymore, right? Like a suitcase so we can throw in all of our wallets in there, something like that.
Or purse. Purses are easier to carry.
And at the end of the day, look, I think there's
Fanny
gonna be
pack.
some sophisticated Web3 gamers that will. I have a fanny pack. I don't know where to do with it, but anyway.
I've never had a fanny pack.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
sorry.
think like again.
It just doesn't work on
You
this
never-
sumo body.
No? Oh God, I rock one every day.
Oh, man. But I think it is good that we're seeing Immutable want to support more teams by providing those back-end services. It's going to help a few games that might not
Let's be
have
honest,
the
man. Like,
AWS
if you're a
know-how,
game
you know?
dev studio and you have problem, like, you know, throwing up like Amazon servers, right? You got some bigger problems going on, and I think you know, that's like pretty much the basic thing. Maybe one of this accelerator services, programs, is basically, you know, how to kind of package your, you know, offerings in the greater, you know, Amazon pipeline, right? So on and so forth. I would assume so, but it's in some ways, accelerator is meant to be, you know, you're a startup, or you know, you're new to the space and you need this kind of introduction, which Immutable really isn't, right? I mean, in some ways, part of it is this is a good announcement for them to give a good image to those people who have no idea what an accelerator is, or, you know, so on and so forth, that are not actually game development studios. Because if you don't know what like an accelerator is, or what Amazon is, or how to throw up your own servers, then you're in Schitt's Creek anyways, right?
I'm no game dev, but I do server work. I host my own websites, and I even run my own game servers. And every website that I've ever, like, even developers that I've talked to, they tell me to avoid Amazon. They said that the AWS system is actually more complicated than it needs to be. So if that is indeed the case, I could see this helping out those startups that may be familiar with servers, but not AWS servers. You see what I'm saying?
No, AWS servers are basically like, if you're actually running a program in the studio and stuff like that, it's like a base necessity. It's like ABC at this point. I mean, cloud computing, cloud hosting, all this other stuff has opened everything up. Like, if you're doing a website blog or something, yeah, it's going to be like overkill, right? Especially like even the permissions of who gets to access your account, right? And the billing alone itself, because it's meant for, you know, organizations that have multi-departments and so on and so forth, right? It will be completely overwhelming. It's like kind of like you want to crop a picture and you're using Adobe Photoshop, right? Like it's just an overkill, right? So whoever told you that is wrong, and please stick to website hosting. Okay, go to Bluehost or whatever like that, or Gator hosting, and have fun with your life. Okay, but if you're an actual, you know, developer, I mean, this is like whatever. But I will say that, like, when Amazon first opened up, like, I could throw up servers myself, spin them up, and so on and so forth, right? Based on like whatever instructions I would get, sure, Apache, whatever like that, Unix, whatever. But now, like, I wouldn't touch it. Right,
So
I'll have my guys do that.
We
Like,
got
I wonder-
Graslow and go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, I wonder if it has anything to do with. Do you guys remember this NFT Amazon Marketplace that was like rumored earlier this year? I
Yeah.
wonder.
Oh,
if,
yeah.
Talking about alpha, right? I wonder if it has anything to do with that, or they're like intertwined, interlinked.
Stop it, Cointelegraph.
What are you trying to say?
Stop it.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because Grazzo's in the comments and he said almost any game studio should have experience with either AWS or Azure, not nearly as diverse industry as standard web hosting. And I agree with that. I actually do support Azure for my 9-to-5 job. But just setting up the server and being able to like remote in, SSH in, whatever, the process is entirely different than a regular server. When I say web hosting, I'm not talking about I pay somebody to host my website. I mean, I pay for a virtual server and I set everything up myself. Yeah. Azure, to get to that point to where I can access the server, the process is not as streamlined as hosting your own VPS through other services. And I think that's where people start to get confused, is that initial process. But once you get into the server, whether it be AWS, Azure, or self-hosted, whatever the case is, you should know what you're doing. Like, regardless of the initial setup process, you should know how to manage a server.
Because that initial setup for those types of services are meant to be robust, though, because, you know, security is a massive concern for any major company. You know, like even on like security features and stuff like this alone, right? It's just a major concern, whether it's roles and permissions or who has access or logs towards that and how you set that up, right?
Don't forget 2FA. That's the one thing I'm hating with Azure right now is 2FA.
Yeah, I mean, even like 2FA is kind of like baby level of security when it comes to these kind of sites, right?
Oh, it's not the setup on our end as the owners and administrators. It's the user side and getting them to set everything up, because they're like, oh, I don't want to scan a QR code and use an app on my phone. Can't you?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking at different levels here. Like, if you're like a website hoster guy and you're like 2FA, I don't know. But if you're a dev, right? I mean, you're gonna like, you know, one pass your machine. You're gonna, you know, whatever. You know, set it up not as a 2FA, but whatever system Amazon's using or a third-party system, right, to sync it across your entire organization, right? Like even that security setup is a 2-week setup for your organization if you're really getting into it at that particular level, because, you know, your servers get hacked or, you know, a rogue employee leaves or so on and so forth. Like these things all need to be like preset, right? Or else you're just asking to get, fucked.
And for those that aren't aware, Azure actually has Web3 service offerings too. So just throwing that out there for those that didn't know.
What does that mean, Web3 services?
I don't know. I didn't look too much into it, but from my understanding, they have like it's a separate type of service that you can spin up. So think like your regular Azure server, but it comes like ready for smart contracts and stuff like that. So I'm not sure.
Crazy. We're in Web 4 already. Why are they just coming out with this stuff?
Well, actually, the Azure systems have been around for a while, but for some reason, we in Web3 don't seem to talk about it much. I bring it up every chance I can, which is why I brought it up, because Azure was mentioned. So, you know, just throwing it out there. And in other news, still related to this topic, Cloudflare also has Web3 services, and I noticed, I believe it was WAGMI Games was actually using it. I came across it in my dashboard for my own website, and I was like, what's this? But I didn't really dive too far into it. And then I went to WAGMI Games' new dashboard for their pack openings they launched this week, and the first thing that popped up when I clicked connect my wallet was a Cloudflare verification system. And I was like, okay, so we got some extra security when we're clicking connect wallet now. This is good to see. So I think all of these systems, even though most of them are backend, I think they are pushing us forward in various ways that could help games. Whether they will is yet to be determined, because I don't know how many people are going to opt to use like immutables, AWS servers versus their own self-managed, self-hosted systems. I don't know what the benefit would be. Maybe cheaper pricing because they're going through a reseller. That's my best guess.
I mean, it's great to hear that that's happening, right? But let's look at like banking in America, right? Like when you go on your bank account, do you understand how many security features it has already running for you on the background? The fact that like this is popping up while you're trying to play a game, like to me is like, wait, what? Like,
no, it didn't pop up during the game. This was on their website, so separate from the game.
Okay.
I don't know if they have any offerings for in-game transactions yet, but that might be something worth exploring depending on the game. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel that much more secure when a Cloudflare pops up and says, you know, we are checking to see whether there's a DDoS, you know, valid traffic or not, or whatever. But, you know, but fuck user experience, and let's make everyone be show that hey, look, we're losing Cloudflare, and we're using this external security system because we're not confident in our own internal ones that we're not showing to you, but we obviously should have.
I would like to say my concern is with how frequently Cloudflare services go down and make websites inaccessible. But considering how often we've seen blockchain APIs and the blockchain themselves kind of go down as well, it's like
I don't know what blockchains you're looking at. Hey, what blockchains are you looking at?
Solana's got the off switch. Solana's got that off switch. Remember?
Anal OS. Anal OS. I don't consider any blockchain that's permissioned or that goes down with traffic really a blockchain. Really, I mean, they kind of it's kind of against the entire ethos and the point of what the blockchain is supposed to be, right? I mean, you can bash on Ethereum and Bitcoin as much as you want, but they don't go down. Slow as fuck sometimes, but I'm loving the six. How do I pronounce it? Gui. I keep getting it wrong. The gas.
Gwei.
Gwei. Okay, 6 Gwei. Yeah, I'm loving the 6 Gwei.
Oh, dude, I went and transferred some funds the other day, and it said my gas fees was like $1.40, and I'm like, damn, I've never seen it at $1.40.
That's the bear market.
Yeah, I transferred an NFT for 92 cents.
Yeah.
This is all Web3 talk right here, right? Imagine if we had this conversation with a Web2 gamer right now. They'd be like, wait, what? You had to pay $1.42 for a gas fee? We're like, what is going on, right? Like, this is the type of stuff that I talk about.
Well,
it sounds like a bill.
To be fair, if we stopped calling it gas and we just called it transaction fees, they would immediately understand. Because really,
they would think you're fucked in the head. So you're paying 20% transaction fee on your whatever.
Have you used PayPal? Their fees are ridiculous.
Right, but it's a flat fee, right? It's a flat fee.
Well, it's a percentage. It's a percentage.
Right, it's a percentage of the thing, right? Whereas in the Web3 space, it's depending on the fucking day you wake up. It might be today, it might be 10, tomorrow might be 2.
No, it's dependent on per transaction. I literally can send an NFT for $1.50, and then it's suddenly $5, and then the last one's $20. All within one transaction after the other.
It was a few weeks ago. I actually posted. I was trying to make I think it was like a $50 purchase or no, it was a purchase. It was a $50 purchase on OpenSea, and the gas fee was $55. I'm not paying more in gas than I am to buy the damn asset. That's never gonna happen. So all I did was go to sleep, wake up the next day, check again. Oh, $2. All right, I'll buy it now.
If you ever want to cry, there's a website where you can just put your wallet address. You don't even connect it, and it shows you how much gas you've paid. If you ever want to feel sad.
Let's just say I'm not a big trader. I'm not on OpenSea every day flipping NFTs and buying and trading and switching between my wallets. And I still check that website because I knew where you were going with that immediately. And let's just say that I have burned over $400 in gas fees alone. And that's going to be me on the low end. Now imagine somebody doing this stuff daily. Like that's their income basically.
400, that's nothing.
Exactly.
That's the price of decentralization, kiddies. God. Just take it.
But see, now
take it and love it.
But now that makes me curious. Where can I view my PayPal transaction fee payments? Because I'll tell you right now, that's going to be a much larger number. So as much as we can complain about it here, it's not necessarily new. What is new is how drastically it can fluctuate in the blink of an eye.
There you go. The transaction part is not an issue, right? Because there's a transaction in everything you do, right? Even when you use your Visa, MasterCard at a grocery store or whatever, there's going to be a fee wherever you go. It's more of hey, how is that fee determined, right? And imagine if going to the grocery store and then all of a sudden the transaction fees are $35 for something when it should cost you $1. Are you still going to buy the groceries? No, I don't think so. You're going to be hey, I'm going to come back when it comes back down to $2.
Yep.
Groceries would be out of business. And so you look at the space up with us, it's how does that even make any sense? How?
There's a speculative asset aspect of it. So it's interesting because let's say especially for Ethereum.
Is this where we shill AVAX, by the way?
No, I don't shill anything. I just fucking dunk on chains that don't work. But specifically for like
Is
Ethereum,
Apex working?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Let's ask
I won't make a
Shrapnel.
comment on it. I'm sure it is. But they're gonna make trades based on like what their gains are, right? But on Ethereum is where the liquidity is, right? And so in some ways, like the base gas fee creates a natural floor for assets that kind of survive, right? Whereas in no, if you look at any NFT collection that's fairly like established on ETH, that price will be much higher than the median price on any other chains where like the transaction fee is like 0.001 cents or so on and so forth, right? But why did people stay on ETH though? It's because the liquidity is there, the player liquidity is there, the funds are there, right? I mean, you could have all the speed you want, but if no one's actually there with their money on that particular chain, then there's no point. And so because it's a speculative type of model, this still exists. But if it was like a kind of more, how do I say, retail type of model, right? Where people are buying things based on its commodity or it's a use case where they need to transfer money on a regular basis, right? It's not. And so they can forego the inconvenience because they're going to make so much more money on the trade. Whereas myself, running a studio that has NFTs, I will wait, a 24-hour period. So if someone says, okay, we're going to send you this NFT because of promotion, I will say, but give us 24 hours because I will literally wait. And I literally have like, ETH gas tracker, like on my browser, like 24 hours a day, right? And I will periodically update and I'll know. And so I actually have I didn't write it down, but I have some times where I know that there's this window, right? But sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get to it in like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck, I missed the window. And now it's like whatever, 18 Gui or Guay or whatever, so on and so forth. And for me, it's like, whatever the market is, I'll say, okay, like this is the range that I want to have it at because I am price sensitive because there's a lot of NFTs I have to transfer, right? So we're just not there yet. But in payment processing a while back, this is the terminology. It's like T plus whatever, right? So T0 means same day transfer. But the norm 10 years ago was T plus 3, right? The norm 15 years ago was T plus 5, right? So business days, right? But you could always pay more to have it T plus 3 or same day, right? So that has always existed. So, but it's also a matter of convenience. But like, let's say that you're you need to send money to your brokerage, right? And this needs to happen now. Well, you're going to pay whatever the fuck transaction fee you need to because you think you need to get into this IPO, whatever. So I guess it's also symptomatic of where the industry is at in that sense that if the speculative trades are still available and it's just a crazy amount, that people will still do these and execute these trades on Uniswap, even if they're paying 50, 100, 200, transaction fees.
Yeah, and it's true. I used to work at a project for Solana called SkateX, and the problem with Solana is that like the NFT floor prices, they just get obliterated because a transaction costs like 0.000001 Sol.
Right.
So people just start undercutting their NFTs. They just relist them over and over again. And on Ethereum, that doesn't happen because when you have to pay a few dollars and when a gas is high, a ton of money to undercut, that just doesn't happen as much. So yeah, it's definitely it's something good I think about Ethereum, and I think that's why a lot of NFTs or most valuable NFTs are on this chain. So yeah.
So as a game developer and a game designer, I've actually we build on ETH. And so people are like, why the fuck would you stay on ETH when you have all these other options, right? One thing about ETH is that, and games or whatever like this in the Web3 space is that if your NFT has utility, and I actually saw this as well, where if you have more than like 30 axes or I don't remember how much, you get like 30 energy, right? And so what players would do is that they would play on one account and then would transfer, whatever 25 axes to the next guy, and then he'd have 30 energy and then transfer because the transfer cost was almost nothing or it was free at that time, right? Whereas if I design like certain like NFT accessories to have bonuses for a particular character on ETH, they can't do that as easily. If they are going to do that, they're going to have to transfer it on chain out of the game and they're going to have to eat that cost in order to get the benefit. And if that cost is comparable to the advantage that they would get, then there's no point for them to transfer it, right? So this is an idea of like basically the cost of transferring acts as a security mechanism, like within the game, right? So, it's working within those constraints, which, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
Another great point presented by Graslow, low fees encourage automated trading, which can have an effect on the market. 110%. I got no rebuttal for that. Like that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, but that's now the advancement of some of these chains, right? Like you have AVAX and you have Scale and you have, I guess you could throw Solana in there, whatever. But like, there's more of the gasless or very low gas. Like, I think that evolution is already like happening in real time, where it's getting more easier to use. But it goes back to like what just Sinjin said is like he's building on ETH. Why is it that you're building on ETH? Well, yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, that's where the money's at, right? Like that's where money sits. And so like, it's great that these other chains are doing that, but like we're still far away from where money's sitting, and you have to go where the money's sitting to survive, especially right now.
Well, speaking of money sitting, did you have something?
No, just on that point that Graslow made, I just wanted to say that, again, transaction fees and costs are always relative to your return. So you can still obviously have a lot of automated trading on Ethereum, right? It's just that, relatively, they're not going to do like, 10,000 transactions or whatever like that, but they will make, trades that are profitable, even though they're paying X amount more, right? And they will do, thousands of transactions, these bots, if it makes financial sense. So as long as that financial margin is there, that makes sense, automated trading is fine. It's not going to be based off of just general absolute cost. It's always going to be relative, right?
I think the concern with automated trading is more like the what's it called, whitewash trading or whatever, where they're just pumping the transactions.
Again, if it's worth it to whitewash it, because then it also looks like, no, I mean, like, here's the thing, right? Like on Solana, you pump up a collection. I'm not saying I do that, but if someone was going to do that, right? Like the relative cost might be $100, but how much are you really pumping it up to, right? Maybe like 70 cents, 80 cents, whatever like that. But, you spend $2 million on Ethereum to pump something up. Again, not saying that I do something like this. And, it ends up being 5 million, right? It's all relative how much capital you want to throw at it,
Well, speaking of money, it looks like the Q3 investment numbers are in for Web3 gaming, and it's not looking good. It was 600 million this past quarter, and that is down 50% year over year, and it's also down from Q1 and Q2. So I feel like
this is a good sign. That's a good sign. I think it's a good sign because again, I talk to VCs on a daily basis, and I help teams fundraise. The due diligence that is being finally done in this space is finally getting to the point where people are asking the right questions. In the past, fundraising, and if you're going to compare it to the year before, it was a very pretty pitch deck, and you know how to sell a fucking ice to Eskimo, you would have got funded, right? And hey, token this, token that, you're going to get your token return in 3 months. Hey, cool. Now it's a lot more like, hey, what's your resume? What have you ever built before? Hey, where do you see the business in a year? How are you going to make money? The biggest question that never got asked when we were fundraising in the past is, how are you going to make money? How many users do you need to make your platform profitable? Questions that were never asked in the past by VCs, that were just crypto bros. Hey, 25K here, 25K there, 50K there. Where are they now? They're underwater or gone. So now the due diligence is way better. So it's good. First of all, it's a phenomenal sign that kind of money is still coming into this space, because that's a shitload of money. It just also signifies that it is that there's a better process. And I can tell you, I talk to VCs all the time. They're doing a lot of due diligence now.
So I know you're always the optimist, but I want to play devil's advocate. Are you sure it's not just because now they're moving all the money and throwing it at AI instead?
I mean, gaming. There's still gaming AI and stuff like that are getting money. But I mean, again, it's still a shitload of money coming into gaming at the end of the day.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's a little contradictory to your previous statements on other episodes, though, because how much money does it take to make a good game? Remember?
no doubt about that. I'm that. No, I mean, I'll still tell you to this day. I think I just said it earlier to. Oh, Fresco had put up a post or something about like I forgot what he had said, and I said again, is $3 million enough to build a game? Like I don't know. Like I don't think so. I mean, like Sinjin will tell us best. Like in order, like first of all, the marketing distribution of itself is like a $3 million budget right there. Let alone building the game. It's just not enough.
My take on it is, though, I do agree with Jorge in the sense that, like, I think any money coming in the system right now is good. I think from what I have seen and heard, not that I am in that circles of VCs because we're self-funded, but it looks like they are open to deploying since about last month, right? It's a lot better than it was months ago. They are asking a lot better questions. What happened last year wasn't even selling ice to an Eskimo. It was like kind of like if it looked slick enough that, like selling a model home to somebody, it was okay. And when I did talk to VCs, it was funny because their level of due diligence was kind of like, what's the game token? When is the vesting schedule for it? How much are we going to get on based on what valuation? And what's your go-to-market strategy, right? Which I think we're all like fucking acidine questions anyways, because this like go-to-market strategy, what's your go-to-market? Where's your market product fit? For games, it shows like a lack of understanding like what it is. Because if they're like, well, you need to, you're mobile and so you're going to get like massive, traction, check. It's going to have like product market fit. But on the other hand, it's like, what's your go-to-market strategy? Well, you can't use iOS or what it called Play Store because you take the 30% hit. And you can make some bullshit thing like, oh, we're going to have our payments offline and whatever. It's just, it's exactly what Jorge is saying is that like, it's not that they were like asking the wrong questions or whatever. They were asking the right questions for a speculative market, right? Because that's what other people want to hear. And basically if they're going to exit off of their tokens, that's what they want to know, right? But in this case, you can't exit off your tokens generally. And so what you need to ask and to make it a good, viable investment to some degree, right? Are the right questions. But, what people have realized as well, and I've gotten this from a lot of VCs as well, that haven't gotten wrecked. And as they laugh at the other VCs who have gotten wrecked, because they don't really consider them real VCs, is that their gaming portfolio is like the most down by a huge margin across the board, because everyone kind of just gone into it. Right, whether you're a crypto VC or you're a traditional VC or you're crypto adjacent and so on and so forth, right? And so many of them got burned. They don't want to touch gaming at all. But I would say gaming that's coming in right now and the projects that are getting funded are definitely a cut above, right? But the reality is, like, I kind of laugh because there are like these Twitter threads where people think that they actually know what they're talking about, and they're like, well, the VC model for games is, like 1 in 20 or 3 in 20, and that's how we've done it. I'm like, no, but for games, the VC model is a lot different because the majority of investments coming in through, publishers, right, who have the distribution channel and so on and so forth, right? And a lot of games just don't get funded because the risk is so high. But if from my estimation, right, like in terms of like breaking even or making any revenue, like I think there's a figure, I think like 1/3 of the games on Steam, right, break over 5K and the rest don't, right? So that's not even like making your money back. It's like 5K. It's like one person's like salary, right? So the greater amount of failure is close to like probably 95%, right, in terms of failure rate, right? But in the reality is probably closer to like an actual breakout game. It's not like 3 out of 20, it's like maybe 2 out of like 100, right? That you're actually gonna like that get that 10, 20, 30, 40 extra that everyone's looking for, unless it's tokens, right? And then you don't really give a shit about the rest of the product because all you were basically investing in was the story of the product. So once you get to the token or the NFT, that was it back in the day, right? So those people who are still in, I would say, are more serious investors looking for more of a long-term thing, or they're prepping up for the possible bull run with the happening next year, and they're like, all right, we're gonna get ready to dump on the market again. Don't know.
Yeah, I heard from a pretty credible source that like what VCs tell people when they're like actually being honest is that like, look, we're willing to deploy when Bitcoin is over $30,000. When it's below it, our checkbook is closed. So, like wait until then. So I don't know how true that is.
No, that's completely true. I just talked to a VC the other day, and I was telling them about a good project, and they're like, yeah, but I need another one of those like probably 10x coins, and I'm like, didn't you just get burned like 10 projects already? And they're like, yeah. But we need to, like, if we do one more with better due diligence, we can recoup what we need to do. And I'm like, did I just literally hear this from you guys? Like, did you guys really just say that to me? I'm giving you a blue chip possible like a play here, and you don't want to invest in it because you rather go for the 10x returns. And it's like, yeah, like that's what made us who we are. And I'm like, I get that, but like the probabilities of that now are very, very small, right? Like the get rich mentality is probably gone now. Even with the next bull run, I don't know what the next bull run is. Bitcoin is at $30,000. That's a shitload of money, guys. Like people don't understand the dynamic or the finance. If you break that down financially, Bitcoin at $30,000, that's high already. That is a lot of money you're talking about. Like I don't know how to like explain it or dumb it down, but like Bitcoin going to 65K, I don't know if that's possible. Hope it is, like because I'm bringing my bags. But at the end of the day, man, we're talking about 2xing like it just I don't see it, right? Like I just don't see the math there yet anymore.
Okay, Corey, I will give you light and clarity. All right. So Bitcoin has gone through this halving cycle, and it's never not cycled trending up in this kind of, whatever, 15K to whatever, whatever, 25 or 36K, and then, whatever, 65. And then, the next trend would be like something like 84 or even like 105 or something like that, right?
82 and then it's 105, I think, yeah.
Something like that, right? I mean, there are like basically people have mapped this out and stuff like that. And if you go back retroactively and you look at it, it is. But here's the thing: back in like 2017, the number that was floated out to me was 65, and it's just basically a number of OGs who have bought like Bitcoin since 2000, 2012, right? And because in one level, Bitcoin is highly fucking manipulated still, right? Because there's these OGs who are still up and have been up from the last, literally like 10 years now. And they've kind of gone through the cycle. But that's kind of besides the point of the manipulation of Bitcoin and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What worked previously, right? And what's worked for them. And it's just like in a casino, and, being an ex-casino executive and stuff like that. There's a strategy in casino, and it's what hooks everyone into the casino. And let's like basically you go to a baccarat table, okay? You're betting $10, okay? And you're like win or lose, win or lose, win or lose. So you bet 10 times or 20 times or whatever, you're down $100, right? People have this realization at one point in their gambling career very early on that if I go to this table, which the min bet is 100, now if I bet the 100, I can make up all my 10 losses right away with this one bet. And now I'm even. Right. But that sucks them in because they're like, oh, shit. Now I know that every time I'm down, I could just basically aggregate all my losses and go for it one time. But once they win one time, they think, fuck, this system works. There's no actual risk. Right. But if you've never been to a casino, every casino's table has a min-max bet. That's on purpose. Right. Because it disallows you to get to that certain point. But in Macau, what we'd have is, these VIP high roller tables, right? And usually the max bet on them is 1 million Hong Kong, okay, which is like something like whatever 200,000 or whatever like this per your bet or whatever like this, right? And but under the table, right, you could have like 2, 3, 4, 5x that, right? So your actual bet could be 5 million Hong Kong, right? But when you max that shit out and you're down whatever 10 million Hong Kong or 20 million Hong Kong, okay? Like the max bet you're going to be able to make is probably 5 million Hong Kong. You can't find a better, higher bet. So the system no longer works. Now you just fucking spiral into debt because now you're dependent upon the cards coming out and you playing them however you can play them. Like in the same way, like the degens who have kind of existed from the ICO era of 2017 to the DeFi summer of 2020 have made and lost fortunes 3 or 4 times during this time, and it's worked for them, right? And the fourth time was maybe, with, gaming, and they didn't exit out with these, these game projects right away, or these play to earn projects. And so for them, this model works until it doesn't work, right? And then they're just fucking washed. But that also depends on where do you feel like the market is right now for crypto or Web3 gaming, that like, are we getting to that point where that speculative aspect is like basically not going to hold water anymore? And it's funny because if we talk about what Big Time and their token, like kind of launch strategy was, you could say that, the hopium is fucking like people want to degen again. They want to feel the love, whether it's Friendtech or Stars Arena, they want to feel the love of the DeFi summer. It's like the DeFi summer of 2020 is like the summer of 69, man, for so many people. And they want to feel that free love again,
DeFi Christmas 2023.
Yeah, that's never happened. That's not a thing, Gene Karen. You haven't been around long enough around these degens to know that.
You wanker.
Oh my God. Well, our final topic, I don't know how much you guys will have to say on it, but Microsoft has completed the buyout of Activision. And a few weeks ago on the show before Sinjin and Matt were here, we actually talked about the papers that were leaked from the Microsoft case. And there are rumors, again, it's a rumor, that they're going to make their own wallet. Web3 Call of Duty win.
Look, I mean, either they're going to buy somebody or make one, right? I would think they would want to acquire one that's already got the knowledge of the space, right? At the end of the day, most of these Web3 projects have an exit clause of looking to get bought out by the bigger names, because I don't know like the survival rate. But anyways, that's a whole different story. Look, it's inevitable. I think we talked about this last time, right? Sinjin, we said like, hey, some of these guys are finding ways to like create skins or get rid of the skins because they're trying to get ahead of the game. Again, it's trying to get ahead of the game. Like it's R&D, it's research and development. Like how do you make sure you stay sustainable with Web3 coming in as a Web2 giant?
Look, I'm just saying, Matt started the rumor that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be crypto based. I'm going to be the one to start the rumor that Call of Duty is moving into NFTs. Okay, just let me have my lightning.
Hey, why don't you tweet it out? I'll retweet it for you, and we'll see how far we can get. And we'll long Call of Duty. What is Activision Blizzard? What is the stock price right now, guys? Let's long this thing.
All you have to do is quote, Cointelegraph as the source.
Just add them and they'll start it. Yeah.
Just
No. I'll launch the tweet. No, I got it. I'll launch the tweet. Jorge can retweet it. We'll get the traction going, and then I'll edit it to add reportedly at the end.
You guys go ahead and do that.
Well, for those that missed it, that's what Cointelegraph did. They appended the article by editing the tweet and adding comma reportedly.
Yeah. Some great reporting there, but I think we've pretty much established Cointelegraph's positioning on this, because at the end of the day, like it's on the topic of like crypto wallet development in Microsoft. I think as a major corporation, the R&D's there. They just have to cover all bases. It's not a big deal. It's just one of many things that they have to do, whether it pans out or not. I'm sure they have a whole AR, VR section where I'm sure all the people in that industry like, oh my God, did you see from the leaked memo or whatever like that? There's VR, AR, it's going to go to the moon, which is, whatever, right? It's kind of a nothing burger. Yeah.
Well, remember, circling back to earlier discussion, they already have the Azure NFT Solution Accelerator, which I just dug a little bit more into, includes REST APIs for ERC-721 tokens, REST APIs for DApp configuration and operational functions, key user management, external transaction signing. They've already got everything.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any Web2 publisher that doesn't see Web3 as a viable way of building a business, right? It's just that, again, we're too early, right? Like, would any Web2 publisher want to come into Web3 right now? No fucking way. In 5 years, maybe when now this is gaming and like it's just tech under the hood and the tech makes sense, I'm sure these Web2 publishers will be like, shit, we can make a shitload of money, royalties. We can make there's so many things that these guys could see it as another way of business revenue. Again, it's just we're too early. Like it's too much shit to get into right now.
So this wasn't on the news list, but we got the new Dead Drop snapshot dropping tomorrow. I'm just saying, if there's one game and one creator that could potentially get these studios to finally change their mind, I'm hoping it's Dr. Disrespect.
So hold on. You're counting out Matt right now who's doing play owned. Are you crazy right now? Wow.
Look, I love owned. I love owned. I love Matt. But let's be honest, Activision ain't looking at Matt.
$1 million. They got $1 million in prizes. Damn it. Do you not understand $1 million?
Yeah, this is.
I think it's a big starting win.
No, this is a good spot. Matt, plug.
Yeah,
give us the deets.
The whole point, I think, of this is just to do something, right? Like people are always like, can devs do something? So yeah, we just want to finish the year strong. We partner with like 80 games. Everyone's like chipped in, towards 1 million.
And not just Web3 games, mind you.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is that it's free. So even, whether you hate the tech or you're an NFT hater, you can come in, you can have fun. No one's charging you. That's the one thing I think we learned from like Creator League is that they weren't honest to their creators. And they didn't mention the part of the Web3. And as soon as I saw that tweet that day, I was like, okay, I know how this ends. Because and of course now there's no Creator League no more for now, right? But I mean, come on, like the guy that came to light with that, he was like an open NFT hater, like NFTs are scams. So when I saw that tweet, I'm like, oh, this is not good. I know how this ends, and of course they had to like pause it, and it was super bad what happened afterwards, where like the layoffs came in for the companies and stuff like that. So if there's anything we learned from that is like, okay, dude, we're not gonna hide away. Like, yes, we're Web3 gaming. Yes, you can hate us, but hey, we're here. We're loud, and you can't ignore us. So, yeah. And I'm telling you guys, like, and you did mention about the GTA Play Tour and tweet. That was supposed to be a meme. I'm a very, very small account. I meme all the time. It blew up. It lost the context. There was
news sites.
It actually started from you, bro. I didn't know that. I thought he was just making fun of you. Man, the power you have.
I was like the 5th person to post it. It was Jonah. It was Thread Guy. People with like bigger followers than me. I don't know why mine blew up, but I'm telling you, I saw a tweet, TikTok about it with 1 million views showing my tweet. I'm like, holy crap! This is like. It's like. I saw it on a news site, like, Cointelegraph reporting it. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I feel like
it's like when you copy pasta someone's tweet and they don't realize it's copy pasta or the
exactly.
Wait. Cointelegraph used your tweet as a verifiable source?
Again, I'm memeing. It was another news
red flags have been going on for a while, ladies and gentlemen.
But I finally felt like mainstream news, you just lie and people buy it. So it's like
look, bringing this all up after months of Matt trying to get over this.
Yeah. No, honestly, I caught some heat for it. I understand. But I mean, I came out and I got the Twitter notes. I got the community notes saying this is fake info. So at least that they corrected it. And I said, look, I was memeing. I'm not like a journalist or anything. I don't know if like who thought I was a journalist. But yeah, that was pretty funny. And hey, who knows? Maybe in the future it will happen. I'm manifesting, maybe. I don't know.
Here's the thing, though. We still hear occasional references to that. I've been in spaces where people are like, oh, GTA 6 and crypto. I'm like, no, dude, that's a meme. I know the guy that started it. And they're like, oh, are you sure? I'm like, yes. The only confirmed crypto involvement with GTA 6 is they said that it is going to be the butt end of multiple jokes. So,
but the fact that went viral, like now they're definitely not going to have anything to do with it because like fuck that.
Well, a lot of people are really, really interested in it, which shocked me because they were like, wow, like gamers are like, a lot of the things were like positive, especially from like the TikTok side of things and stuff. So, but then, I retracted it. I posted like another meme that said, the money that you earn in real life will transfer into the game, instead I
saw that.
Yeah,
I thought that was very witty.
Yeah, that's how it's actually going to work, right? Like the money that we make in real life will transfer into GTA 6. So
KG said Matt ruined it for GTA 6.
Yeah, you fucked it all up for our hopes and dreams in Web3 for GTA 6.
GTA 7.
The craziest part is I just pre-ordered it, and now I'm trying to I'm calling my credit card company right now to fraud, but.
The funny thing is though, like I think GTA would actually be a good like play to earn type of game. I mean, when you think about maybe not play to earn, that's the wrong word. A good crypto based game because of the amount of assets that's in there. You can buy cars, you can spray paint it. Like there's a lot of various economic systems that would coincide well with Web3, I feel like. So
Yeah.
while it is a rumor, I think that they should look into this and find out how they could leverage that technology to benefit the game. Because I feel like that is probably that and MMOs like World of Warcraft, for example, are.
I'm sure to some degree that they have, but like again, like when you already have an established business model that works and you put in $2 billion, right? Are you gonna fuck around here? Yeah, it's like get fucked and fuck around. Yeah.
No.
Like $2 billion worth of investment and not.
That's true. This is their biggest blockbuster investment yet.
Yeah, it's just like, and I want to be very straight to like every fucknut who's listening to this and fucking brings up Fortnite and they just need to convert over to skins. They're gonna make so much money. Please shut the fuck up. And
they would lose money.
Yes, they would cannibalize their own sales for what 5% royalties if they're even whatever enforced.
And speak about how long it takes them to make the game, and it's like almost a decade or something, right? So.
But if you're making like the skins and like the emotes in Fortnite, obviously they have teams and teams doing it, and they've gone down to a process and science, right? But I can guarantee the salaries that they pay to like each animator and guy who's making every new skin in Fortnite and with the IP, whatever that they're paying out for it or in conjunction with, like the royalty fees on this or the initial sales is not going to cover it because you need X amount of scarcity to make the secondary market work. And they would just be losing money, right?
But
so like there's some common sense here, right?
But Sinjin Warzone just shut down and I lost all my skins. If they were NFTs, it fixes that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's Activision. It's Activision, and they have a monopoly. What can we do, right?
No, but on that sense, it's like, if you get NFTs for a shutdown game, right? Then let's find another developer who's just going to give $50 million to redevelop it for your NFTs with no viable business model, or a model that gives like 1/7, 1/10, whatever of possible revenue. It's just not going to happen.
To be fair, it could be used in the event of a shutdown to encourage people to go into another game. For example, we do a lot of gated access for games. If Call of Duty shut down, being able to jump into Battlefield without paying to jump into the game would be a benefit, right? So there is still some benefit to the Web3.
If some like minor like of a game that already existed and could turn those into like interoperable copies per se, right? Yes. That is possible.
Not
right?
whole assets. We're not talking whole assets, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to bring my Call of Duty characters into Battlefield. We're talking about
but even the Call of Duty, like if that were all NFTs, yes, that would be possible if you were going to do that. But if that game is already
copyright and licensing and stuff comes into play. But if
that's another issue as well.
If they said we're going to use Call of Duty's NFTs but provide our own in-game assets, because remember, NFTs are public. So there's nothing Activision could do to block them from using Call of Duty's NFTs to provide.
No, you could use it.
Battlefield.
Okay, there's nothing stopping me. Okay, I'm gonna use a boomer thing, like copying a CD from back in the day to another CD. There's nothing stopping me from doing that because it's a physical CD and I'm just copying it, but it's illegal, right? So not all NFTs are given the legal right.
That's what I'm saying, because the NFT, I can publicly use that metadata. There's nothing they can do to stop me from using that.
But
metadata.
if it's related with like the IP. Okay, yes. If it's not the image itself, just the metadata, sure.
Exactly. But
then is that really the NFT then, other than the receipts?
Well, it's to provide value, because think about it. If the game shuts down, there's absolutely no use for it. Then the NFT is just going to zero, or you're holding a picture, right? But if Battlefield says, hey, if you hold this, you can jump into our game. Me as a gamer, that asset still has value to me because I can still go play Battlefield, right?
Okay, bro, I'm going to say this. It's like kind of like I have this car. It got in a fucking car wreck, okay? But luckily I can salvage the steering wheel from this BMW and put it into my new BMW or buy another BMW and switch it out. Like the utility here is so fucking minor
It
that
is,
if you
but it's-
say this to a Web 2 gamer, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You think that, but there was a game I've spent over $300 in called Spellbreak. They just shut down at the beginning of this year. I am more devastated that all that money is just poof gone than if I were to be able to say have access to the next game that they develop, or I could use those assets somewhere else. So it is minor, but it is an impact and it is a benefit that we only have here in Web 3. You're not going to see that in Web 2 ever, just because of
That's
licensing
right.
and everything else.
But
So
it's not enough to have as a switching point, right?
Oh,
so like, let's say you have two products. No, listen.
Yeah.
You have two products like coffee and like tea or cola or whatever. This is basic like business management, marketing 101, right? Like there might be an incremental reason why something is better than the other, right? But if it's so incremental, it doesn't overcome like the switching costs or like enough of a sales benefit, then the effort you put into that, it's just not worth it, right? Like let's say that I have a fairly competent, fairly good game, right? And like this other competitor, they went under, right? Rather than me like trying to convert them over and say like, if you had an account there and you can prove it, I'll give you a 10% discount on all our skins. Or I go through the trouble of spending dev money to make these assets from their own game interoperable so I can make like whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like I can accomplish the same thing by giving them a 20% discount or even like a 5 free skins by proving they had an account there rather than porting over their own items.
No,
right?
no. And that's what I was saying earlier. You're not porting over whole items.
No. Even not porting over, like whichever way that you want to do it, right? From a business standpoint, there's not enough of a reason to do that for the same effect, right?
Yeah.
If I wanted to just re-engage the users, right?
But
so I'm just saying on a practical basis.
It does bring in more users you may not have otherwise had, and you could turn those from, hey, yeah, you got in because you held this other game's asset to, oh, now you're buying our assets. See what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a little bit of upfront cost involved, but you could also
I know,
turn
but
them into
from a
spenders for
business
your
point
asset.
of view, from a business point of view, right? That same thing could have been accomplished with just giving them like a 25% discount or 3 new skins. If you were, show the receipt from Steam or whatever like that, you have it in your library, right? With no dev costs.
Yeah, Graslow just said the NFTs provide that proof the studios need to bring those players over. I do think we'll see that as an onboarding strategy, which I have to agree because we already saw it. For those that aren't familiar, it was either earlier this year or last year. Catch King shut down. For those that don't know, it was a little social fishing game. It was a really neat little game, and their partnered community, Solo Fox, said, "Hey, if you hold one of their NFTs, come over to our game. We'll give you access." And that's kind of why I'm so adamant that this is a strategy. It might not be the strategy every single
No, but that's
game
almost
should
just the
utilize.
proof of receipt one, right? It's not really like that. That's my point. You're just qualifying the user, right? And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but that's a totally different thing than like in any way trying to like take that asset and give value to them like with a reused asset or transferred asset, right? Whereas like a proof of receipt is almost good enough because we'll treat it as if that NFT is like ours, but we'll give you a substitute one. Now you can access our game, right?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's just about cost. I mean, at the end of the day, like what people are not realizing is that in real business, okay, not speculative bullshit like I'm on crypto Twitter so I can talk about whatever the fuck I want because I'm an expert because I read this fucking mega thread from this guy who's recommended from this other guy who said this is the thread you need to read. Right?
Who writes for Cointelegraph?
Yeah. Who writes for Cointelegraph? In real fucking life, right? You actually need to create value. Okay, let me give you the fucking business definition of value, like an actual fucking definition. Okay, like this is a textbook definition. Okay. There is, what the consumer perceives as the price that they want to pay for the service, right? And everything above that is value, right? And so if they feel that like the price they want to pay, but the value they're getting is up here, right? They're willing to pay $60, but they perceive $100 of value, then that margin of that $40 is that value, right? When it's incremental, $1 or $2 is not enough to make people overcome their, initial hesitation to switch over, right? So anything that is, done in Web3, if it's 1x value, if it's 2x value, it's 3x value, it's probably not enough to overcome all the shit that's happened and the bad press. But if it's 10x value, as Peter Thiel has said many times, the 0 to 1 book and so on and so forth in all his lectures, then yes. But go back to Jorge's original point, and now he's taking his things off, so I can slag him as much as I want.
Well, real quick, hang on.
Yeah.
So Gaspode is now in the chat. Hello, Gaspode.
Yeah.
He said someone used the example of building in Roblox as building your game in somebody else's IP, which is a good point. However, that is because of the access to the audience. When the games get big enough, they then want to leave Roblox. Perfect example, Dota. It was a game mode built in Warcraft 3, popped off, found an esports scene, and they branched off, and now Dota 2 is its own separate entity. So I agree with that. I get that point.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that point as well.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a strategy. That's what we're saying, or at least what I'm trying to say is it's a strategy. I don't think it's going to be everybody's strategy. So I think it's good to work with games and have that interoperability feature available. Is it going to convince every gamer to jump over? No, of course not. Not at all. But there's a lot of people, for example, who play Call of Duty that don't care about Battlefield. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to play it. Same goes for Fortnite, you know, like everybody has their own preferences when it comes to games. I just think it is something of value that we have here because I'm always looking for what can Web3 do that Web2 can't, because that's where a lot of the pushback comes from gamers is, oh, well, I could just use an API and do this. And it's like, okay, well, when's the last big company that you're aware of that shares an API to verify that you own the skins you bought, right? Like even
that's
Fortnite
very dangerous thinking. It's very difficult. It's very dangerous thinking because, like, what can Web3 do that Web2 can't? Okay, is not the same as what does Web3 solve in Web2. It's a very big difference, right?
That is a point. Right? That is a great point.
Because all the things that they can't do, right? Maybe they don't want to do it, or there's not enough value to do it, or it's not worth it to do just because it exists in Web3. I mean, I could probably give a lot of examples, but they'll be X-rated and, you know, like, I don't know, it's just fucking bomb my algorithm even worse. So everything associated with Sinjin is just fucking bombing down and getting NC-17. But to go back to
too many wankers.
Yeah, I'm not using too many wankers. I just got one wank of my own, but you know, let's not start.
Have you ever thought of paying Matt to do a tweet for you?
Yeah, it's definitely going to go viral. You know, Sinjin's got many wanks. Yeah, it's like it's biological. Anyways, yeah, I just want to say one point, okay? And this is it about value, okay? Even like having like non-custodial wallets and onboarding and stuff like that, these are what you think are essential values and to solve an issue, right? But Web 2 doesn't have this issue, right? So we're trying to solve and get to parity with Web 2 by having all these other things. And then it's fucking bullshit because at the end of the day, is the core product a 10x product, right? Like we could have charging stations and we can have all this stuff for like electric cars, right? But if the car is shit, it's still a shit car. No one's gonna buy it, no matter how convenient or how fast you can charge it, right? And that was one of the very first things that Elon realized was that, you know, no one's going to buy a dorky MIT fucking square looking car. Well, now with Cybertruck, yes. Okay. But that's why the very first Tesla was a roadster, was a sports car. Right. And then from there, he went to mass market, right? Where the product was good enough. It was a 10X product that everything else could be built around it. And we're just not there yet, but we're getting so close. But, you know, the craziest thing is that my team works day and night to get to our beta, and our last alpha was done almost like 2 months and 2 weeks ago, okay? From our last major public release build, right? In crypto space, that is a lifetime has gone by. In dev space, right? My guys are just fucking killing it, and I'm so fucking proud of them, right? And so, like, we're just so, I wouldn't say we're so early. We are there, right? But to see the fruits of the labor, like, you can't rush game development, right? And we're rushing it. Right, our total budget right now that we've spent is close to like a little bit over 3 million US. We are a simplistic, straightforward, PC only game. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? Our game loop is like 2 levels deep at the most, and that costs $3 million, right? And that's like been over 2 years now, like a little bit over 2 years of development,
Making games is one of the hardest businesses there is. I was speaking to a founder the other day, and his business is making satellites and launching them into space. And he was telling me that making games is like 100 times harder than that. And I was like, whoa, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, it must be. I mean, it's not easy to build satellites and launch them into space, but imagine what making is almost like you're building like, some people say life is a simulation, or like a game is like you're creating life almost, right? Like within the game, right? So yeah, I respect builders in the space a lot.
I just want to put a caveat. I don't think it's 100 times harder than building satellites, but it's hard.
Well, I'm just taking his word for it. It's his business, right? So, and he makes a lot of money. So, yeah.
But as he worked in game dev, though, it's hard to compare if you haven't done both.
No, he said that he was dipping his toes, but he was finding out. I guess he's building in the space and trying to build in the space.
Actually, every core game developers, right, who have actually have whether it's C# or whatever like that, or C++ or whatever like that, they are brutally overqualified for most programming jobs outside of gaming, right? So if they were to go, they would do like half the amount of work and have like 40% more salary, right? Because the challenges that are always there in gaming comparatively, because you're basically, it's a hit game model, just like a feature film, right? Except every single part of that you have to program, right? And in one part of like, there's film, you edit it, sometimes you reshoot the shot, right? Imagine you have to rebuild the shot, right? And then when you rebuild that shot, the rest of the film breaks down, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not synced anymore, and then you have to resync everything, right? That's what game development really is like, plus the creative aspect of it and so on and so forth, right?
Yep.
That's why, games are trending the same way that films are trending to franchises, to existing IP, right? So that it's a lot less risk. But, I guess the thing is like, I think the turning point for crypto and Web3 is with games. The reason why is because you can't release a fun, good game without that much development invested into it, right? So when a majority of the games that have been developed in the last 2 years come out next year or the year after, then it's inevitable the market will change with that, because the product of games that are actually fun are, on that basis of utility, right? That's it. So whenever the games that come out that are actually fun, there we go. The market will change, at least on the crypto side.
We just need the next Among Us. We got to have the right content creator playing the right game at the right time and just let it pop off and boom.
Don't worry. I am here to save everybody.
Right?
Yeah. Also, one of the things that I think is quite unfair is that like we always benchmark our space, our like tiny little niche of Web3 gaming is like super niche within a niche. We always benchmark it with like the biggest games in the world, but like and like you said, like Steam has like what was the stat? Like 90% of games on Steam are like don't have more than how many players? So yeah, we're just benchmarking our tiny niche with these like juggernauts, right? Like League of Legends, Call of Duty. Oh, we're gonna be the next Disney. We're gonna be the next,
Because all the funding that came in and all the narrative around that.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, like we should like play on the same level. As like we should compare ourselves to like indie games in the space that did well. There's some indie games that have millions of downloads, right? So things like that, not with these AAA giants that had like 10 years to develop a game and like infinite money. So yeah,
because the narrative started from Axie, where Axie at one point was one of the biggest gaming companies in the world for like a good like 2 months. Right, yeah. By whatever market cap valuation you want to do with AXS and the number of sales. And, every new industry is predicated on this period of speculation, right? Mass speculation. And then you're expecting something to come out of it, right? But depending on the technology that actually comes out, when the technology actually does come out, what ends up happening is this mass consolidation, right? So everyone hoping someone was going to make the jackpot. A few projects make the jackpot. They bring in the cash. They either consolidate the industry, or the smaller players die off, and then so on and so forth. And then there is a boom and a bust, right? And then money comes in because people are using that product. In the same way, a good game is recession-proof, because if you play it your play is not determined on like how you are financially, right? You play a game because it's fun. It's almost an escape. So again, some content creators are saying, look at the market. The games are not recession proof. I'm like, no. Games that are established and that work are recession proof. I mean, again, timing and context matters. And I wish everyone, please go to YouTube at least for God's sakes and just like do a marketing 101 basic course here, right? Or something, please, you know? Like, I'm like, I feel like I'm in the sea of insanity of like people who like
Sinjin
don't have access to the internet.
Sinjin is
like
like, I'm surrounded by morons.
Well, it's like I tell people in Web 2, I don't go check the stock market before I buy a game. If I want a game, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
I don't care what the economy and the market conditions are. If I've got the money and a bomb-ass game comes out, I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've realized for myself is like when I enjoy a game and I spend, a lot of time playing it, I'm willing to spend, ridiculous amounts of money in it, right? Like,
I spent over $300 in Call of Duty Mobile in the last 2 weeks.
There you go. There you go.
I've got probably 100 plus hours into it as well at this point. But, I agree with you basically because League of Legends was another one that I put many hours into. I spent close to $3,000 actually. You can actually check that. If you have a Riot account, you can check your spending. And yes, I've spent $3,000 on a free-to-play game. And it's just because I enjoyed it so much and I played it for so long that over time I just kept throwing money at it and throwing money at it. Oh, this skin came out. Oh, this character came out. I wanted to support the game. And it's
Exactly.
the same thing. It's the same thing I do with any free-to-play game like Path of Exile. I got probably 100 plus hours out of that. Guess what? I went and bought some bank tabs. I bought some cosmetics. The thing is, I have to enjoy the game. I want to play it so that way I want more from it. And then that's whenever I start spending because me as a player, at least, I expect if I'm spending money, it's going to keep putting out more content, more skins, more assets, more story, more missions, whatever the case is. A lot of gamers, if you think that not spending any money on a game is the way to go, well, how do you expect the game to thrive and continue developing products? That's why so many live service games fail is because they can't get enough money in. How many MMOs, for example, not in Web3, but in general, how many MMOs have shut down over the years? Almost all of them. Only the top 4 or 5 have remained faithful. And at least 2 of them, Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, aren't even free. You have to pay $15 a month to be able to enjoy those games. Games need money, guys.
But I think too, more of a core point is that you have this entire mobile game industry, which initially in the game industry, we didn't count it, right? But we ended up counting it because it made so much money. But the mobile gamers are quite different than actual gamers. And I'll be very deliberate in saying that, right? There are some mobile games that are I think are competitive and really do fit that bill of being really gamers. But for the most part, these pay to win games and stuff like that. For me, if a game's pay to win, you're not really a gamer. You're just fucking jerking off and playing off whatever this game is for shits and giggles and whatever disposable income you have as escapism or whatever like that. And I mean that in the worst possible way. I hate you fucking type of gamers. Okay, you pay to win developers and you fucking whatever hyper casual fucking gamers. You're not gamers. You're just fucking people who are using a digital device and jerking off. Okay. But for real games and real gamers, it's not a transactional thing. It's a kind of we're going to go on this journey together. And as a game developer and game designer, you're not making a game because you want to make money. There's a far easier way to make money, right? Or at least more straightforward. It's because there's a passion, there's a vision, there's something that you want to create in this simulation, reflecting about the life of simulation or whatever, right? And then as a gamer, when you see that authenticity in the game and it makes you feel, it makes you enjoy it. You want to support the game, or it makes you feel frustrated, but then it's competitive, like an esport or whatever like that. Then you buy things because you want this to continue. It's like a very good book. I'm such a boomer. But when I was a kid, if the book was very good, I'd always check how far along the book I was. And whenever I got past the halfway point, I was kind of sad because I knew this book was going to end. But if I could have paid more money for this book to continue, I would have. Right. And that's the same mentality with gamers. And so when a gamer's in this kind of environment, and then suddenly you get micro transaction payments from hell, right? Like fucking Overwatch 2, you dumb fucks. How the fuck could you fuck that up too? And all my skins have not been transferred over fully, Microsoft. Now it's your responsibility, right? And all my emotes, and you said that they would, and they actually came in two. How does it fucking come in two tranches of like whatever? Like you guys couldn't have fucking figured it out, just do it in one. Anyways, nobody fucking likes that because it breaks this relationship where I'm a gamer, I'm supporting your game because I want this story to be in my life, and then suddenly there's this voice saying, add another quarter.
Hey,
add another whatever. Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, but we are running well over time. Somebody has a hard stop right now, so we got to wrap it up. Any final thoughts in under 30 seconds?
Follow us next week on the Block Sauce, hosted by ReNFT. We are
getting to that part.
Damn show, and guess what? Go play own, go get owned. Right? I think that's saying
Yeah.
If not, I would actually get it up, and I want some sort of patent license.
Yeah, $1 million, free to play, own.gg. There you go.
And then there's Meiji. Don't forget about Meiji.
Meiji.
Don't you have a playtest coming up, right?
Yeah, like a number of them, and we have our beta coming out next month, and we're probably launching before the end of the year. But I also want to say, very importantly, fuck you, pay-to-win players and pay-to-win developers. Really, fuck you, and a double fuck you. All right?
That's how you end the show, damn it. That's why we got like 1 million viewers watching the show right now. All right,
Don't
guys,
fucking call yourselves gamers. In real life, let's not meet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a wrap. This was another great episode of the Block Sauce. I love you guys for joining us. Matt, thanks for filling in last minute. I know that we kind of threw you in here, fed you to the wolves a little bit, but you held up well. So thank you guys again for joining. Also, we couldn't have done it without our amazing supporters. I saw you guys, Gaspode, JP, everybody, in the comments. I'm trying to wrap this up very quickly. So that's going to be it for us today. Sauce enthusiasts, join us next time for another amazing episode of the Block Sauce, where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Stay saucy and keep gaming in the exciting realm of Web3. Have a good one.